listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone had a great week and I hope that you are having an even better weekend. All right, so we're going to get straight to today's show. The title is The Master Plan and the topic is laying the groundwork for your book. All right, so the first steps to writing any book, whether it's a novel or a memoir, or just a nonfiction guide, they all start with a master plan, right? A blueprint, if you will, that guides your entire writing process. So we know that every great book begins with strategic groundwork, okay? Which helps you to organize your ideas, first of all. It helps you to define your vision, and then it helps to create a roadmap for you to stay focused through those long and winding writing journeys, okay? So in today's episode, we will explore the essential elements of planning your book's foundation that will help you build your story or your content with purpose and direction, okay? So that is the goal for today. All right, so the first thing we need to do in this process is to clarify what your purpose is, right? So before you dive into those chapters and those characters, you need to reflect on why you are writing this book. Okay, first and foremost, ask yourself that question. A little side note, what message or theme do you want to express? And who is your target audience? And what do you hope that the readers will take away from your book? All right. So your purpose is the driving force behind your book's creation. Whether you want to entertain or educate or inspire or having just that clarity on your intentions, that will help you to influence every decision you make, right? And then it will help form the structure or to help the tone of your writing. All right. So the second thing we want to do is to define your audience, right? So you need to understand your readers. You need to understand what is key with your readers to shaping the content and then the voice of your book. So if this is not your first rodeo, if you've already written a book and maybe that book didn't go over too well because you didn't use this strategy. So your next book, if you use this strategy and learned what worked and what didn't work when you did your first book, defining your audience, working on your second book will help you to establish that, okay? So when you know who you're writing for, then you can tailor your approach to match their interests, right? And then you can also help fulfill their needs and also their expectations, because all those things are vital. You may not think about that, but it is true. It is very true. When you define your audience and when you find out what they want, what they like, okay, and what they don't like and what they don't want. So if you consider all of these aspects of your target audience, then you will probably have figured out the age group. Are you writing for children? Are you writing for teens? Or are you writing for adults? Okay. And then, of course, the interest. What genres or topics do they engage with the most? All right. So they may not specifically be your writing audience, but you can actually go out there. You can poll what people like, and sort of plan it around that. Okay. And of course, there will be challenges, and we will, get deeper into that, what those problems are, what the questions might be, and then if you can address those in your book. All right. So first of all, let's define your audience. Let's narrow the themes and the writing style, and then even the length of your book, because all of these things are important, right? They are all important factors. They're on that flow chart. All right. So first of all, let's set a structure or a outline. Now, a strong book is built on a well thought out structure. While some writers, they prefer to outline every detail, and we will call them plotters, right? And others may choose a more flexible framework, and we'll call them pantsers, because that's who they are when they would rather not work with a flow chart. And I'm a pantser, okay? I don't like flow charts. So, regardless of your creating style, you need to think about this. So for fiction, plot points, right? So what is the main conflict, the climax, and then the resolution? And then to the character development. How do your characters evolve? And then, of course, again, the chapters. What's the pacing of the story? Now, for nonfiction writers, your main topics, what are the key themes or the lessons, right? The logical flow. How do you transition between ideas? And then, of course, the research needs. What facts or expert opinions do you need to support your arguments, right? So this structure doesn't have to be rigid. I'm talking about nonfiction, because you can always revise it, as your writing progresses. But having a roadmap gives you a sense of direction. It's like the back in the day before we had GPS, right? The roadmaps were like the GPS, and you had someone in the passenger seat, giving you the directions, from reading that map, telling you, which way you needed to go, which interstate you needed to take to get there. So, it's a roadmap. Writing a book and having those clear directions, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, it's your roadmap, right? So, and then two, of course, you need to do your research. So this is the fourth thing. So, research isn't only for nonfiction writers, because fiction authors, they need to also understand settings, and then the character backgrounds and any historical context to make their stories seem authentic or more authentic, right? Because we know that readers, even though fiction, quote unquote, is something that is not necessarily true, is fictional, right? Everything about it is fictional. It's totally made up. But within that, you have those tangible, authentic, relatable things that the readers can research for themselves. And that also lends to the authenticity of your story, even if it is fictional, even if the characters are fictional. But if there are real places and authentic details within that story that the readers can, again, research for themselves, it makes the story that much more better, because it shows that you did your homework, right? You did the research to make sure that those facts that you included in your story were accurate, right? Okay, good. So now with nonfiction, you need to verify the facts, right? Because nonfiction is the complete opposite of fictional. That means that it is, completely based on truths or opinions. And so you need to make sure that you have all your little duckies in a row, so you don't get called out, right? So you need to verify those facts. You need to gather that data, and then you need to interview the experts on it. You don't have to necessarily, have a long list of people that you need to interview to get the information that you need. Sometimes depending on what type of nonfictional book you're writing, maybe one or two, maybe five will do. All right. So, but within fiction, you need to research those real world elements, especially if you are including locations and then those cultural details and professional fields that are relevant to your story. So if you're writing about a doctor, you need to make sure you have your facts straight. If you're writing about attorneys, then you need to have your facts straight. Okay, so you get the picture. All right. So again, doing your research early on, that will help you to write with authority and accuracy, and that can also spark new ideas. So the fifth thing is developing a writing routine. So the best laid plans mean little without execution. So establishing a writing routine that will help you bring your master plan to life is essential. So you need to create a schedule that works with your lifestyle, and then you need to stick to it. Whether you're writing a 500 word a day in your book, or you are dedicating an hour to your project each morning, you need to be consistent with that, because it will help you get to your goal. It will help you reach your goal. And the sixth thing is you need to anticipate those challenges. Life is a challenge sometimes. So we know that they will come. So because we also know that no plan is perfect, and every writer will encounter some type of obstacle. So if you anticipate those roadblocks, whether it's writer's block, or, if your time constraints or limited to just a few hours a day to be able to write, you can develop those strategies to help you to overcome them, right? So just prepare for that creative fatigue that will come, because, sometimes we get tired as writers, our minds refuse to work. So you need to have those breaks and then other creative outlets ready when you hit a slump. And then, of course, distractions. You need to set aside a dedicated writing space, again, or a time where you can focus. And then feedback. Be open to constructive criticism and revisions, because that's all a part of this writing game. And then you need to be flexible with your plan to ensure that you keep moving forward, even when the writing process gets tough. Okay? So I guess I said all of that to say this. Planning the groundwork for your book it's like laying the foundation for a building, right? So without it, the whole structure, it may just fall apart. Okay, and we don't want that happening. So by taking the time to clarify your purpose, to define your audience, and then to outline your structure, do your research, set a routine, and then prepare for those challenges. If you do all of these things, you can create a master plan that will keep you focused and will help you bring your book to life, because that's what we want to do, right? So we need to realize that writing a book is a lot like life. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon, okay? And a well-crafted plan is the key to crossing the finish line. All right, guys, that is it for today. That is the message for today. I hope you found elements in everything that I shared with you helpful. I hope that you did, and I hope that you will continue to listen, like, and share, because I do appreciate everyone that listens to the show, that downloads the show on a weekly basis. That shows that I'm doing something right, something helpful. You're getting something out of these messages that I share with you on a weekly basis. So, like I always say when I end each and every show, be sure to tell those who you care about how you feel about them, because tomorrow is not promised. Today may be the only chance you get to say it. So on that note, I love you. I hope you love me back. And until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.